Hello everybody, welcome to the first, well it's not really an episode. We're going to be talking about the mods that I am going with, or thinking about going with for my brutal Skyrim survival Let's Play. Alright, so this is my character, Grizzle. We'll get into his backstory in the next video, probably. So we're just going to talk about what mods I have installed, why I have them installed, and give you the chance to make your own recommendations if you think I should change anything. Okay, so first of all we have, of course, 3D paper world map. I mean, that's a requirement as far as I'm concerned for playing Skyrim anyway, but for definitely for any kind of survivalist type playthrough. We also have alternate start so that we can I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to start him off, but don't have to start off in the cart, rolling down to Helgen at least. Under the creature category, we've got Animalica, which adds some variation to the wildlife. So instead of, always running into the same rabbit and saber cat and deer or elk or whatever, you run into a few different varieties of things. I've also got Art of the Catch so that I can, do some fishing. It's nice because I can catch fish both for alchemy ingredients and for food, which will come into play with my needs mod. I like it. It has some advantages over what's the other one called? Fishing in Skyrim or something like that. There's another mod that does fishing. This includes like an animation, and you have to fish where you see dragonflies or insects or whatever. So if there's insects, there's a chance that there's going to be fish, and you can cast your rod there and hopefully catch something. So I like that. It's kind of cool. Also got Bandolier because, as we'll get into in a little while, I drastically reduced my carry weight. So being able to add a little bit back in with some pouches and stuff is probably going to be necessary. Same thing with a bigger leather backpack. That's kind of currently my favorite backpack mod. I've got belt fastened quivers. No big deal really there. Brighter torches with a bigger radius. Just because the vanilla one kind of sucks, and it's not that. You really need a better torch when you're using, darker dungeons and stuff. I've got Campfire and Frostfall, which work together. Right now I have Frostfall and actually my needs mod disabled, so I don't starve or freeze to death while I'm talking to you here. Climates of Tamriel to change the weather and the way the sky looks a bit. Convenient horses. If I can ever afford a horse, I might have to just find one somewhere, because I don't know if he's actually going to be selling that much stuff to get gold. Customizable camera is a requirement for me. It allows me to basically play like this, directly behind the character instead of over his shoulder. DEC realistic male face I have been using for quite some time to change the look of all the guys' faces. Makes them a little bit more haggard, weathered, a little bit harsher. There's also a smooth one if you like sort of a more of boyish look or whatever to your characters. That works too. I've got enhanced blood textures, of course, and enhanced lights and effects to make the dungeons look a little nicer. Enhanced night sky, because I am going to be camping a lot, so when you look up at the sky, some really, really beautiful nebula and star effects and stuff. Equipping overhaul allows me to actually show off all my gear on me as I'm running along. I'll have whatever sword or axe or whatever, plus a bow, and everything's all equipped all at once. I've got realistic encounter zones. Now this I was going to go for Requiem, as Grey Skyrim recommended. But I had a hell of a time with it. It does not play very nice with other mods. It's really hard to get it to install and not stomp all over everything else and have massive conflicts everywhere. So I've decided instead of going with Requiem, we're going to go with a couple of different mods that'll do some of what Requiem does, and hopefully we'll get most of the feel of that. So the realistic encounter zones basically de-levels all of Skyrim. So we're going to, there's a chance, as far as I know, I haven't actually played it, right? I haven't actually used this mod, but as far as I know, what it does is it makes, instead of every level, or every dungeon that you go into being, fairly close to your level, you have a chance of running into a dungeon that's anywhere from 1 to 50 or something like that. And any enemies that you get in there could be anything from 1 to 50, as far as I know. So we're going to see how that works out. I got easy to see dialogue menu. I always use that. That just, I can't really demonstrate it now, but when you're talking to somebody or something, it's the item that you have, or the dialogue option they have highlighted is in yellow. That's basically all that does. Fighting Fatigue is a mod that, I believe that's the one. Can I? Hang on. Yeah. Okay, Fighting Fatigue is the one that basically it makes regular attacks, not just power attacks, as well as holding a drawn bow and running, all use stamina. So the only way I can move without using stamina is to walk. So this is going to be a bit of a slower playthrough, a little bit more realistic, but I did also install a movement speed mod, so walking is faster, running's a little slower, sprinting is a little bit faster, I want to say. I'm not sure, but anyway. Yeah, so basically you can't just go running through, running from one end of the map to the other without taking a break. That's basically the idea of that mod. I've got the FISS, File Access Interface for Skyrim script. That's just required for SkyTweak and probably some other mods. Got Forge New Idols for Skyrim. I know it's required for something, and I'm not sure what it is. I might have actually uninstalled the mod that's required for it. No. I think it's coming up. I think it's required for something. Anyway, if I ever want to install any other animation mods, I'm going to need that. Frostfall, as I think I mentioned already. I don't have that activated right now, but that's going to be, of course, one of the main survival mods. Grimy plugin, that's also needed for SkyTweak, which we'll get into in a minute. Harvest Overhaul, which allows me basically, when you go down, there's a patch of, Blue Mountain flowers or something, instead of clicking it and getting one, you get like 3 or 4 or whatever, because, that's just a lot more realistic. Height-adjusted races with true giants. Now this is like, I think it's really cool. You run into a giant and they're like as tall as a freaking building, instead of being twice your height. And races are a little bit, races and I think sexes are different heights. So like a high elf, a male high elf will be probably the tallest. Male Nords are pretty tall. A Breton female or a Khajiit female will be really small. It just gives a little bit more variation. And I've also got hold border banners, so that's tying into some of the other mods as well. As I'm walking along, I'm going to know, okay, I'm passing into a new hold. Hunterborn, for some very, very realistic skinning, hunt the whole hunting. Well, it's not really hunting, but after you've shot the animal, You have to skin it, and you have to dress it and skin it and butcher it and everything to get all the ingredients. And it actually allows you to use some of the ingredients from, like, you get more ingredients and a wider variety of ingredients so that you can make alchemy components, or alchemy. You can make potions and poisons out of animal parts, like eyes and teeth and stuff like that. Eye activate, which basically just eliminates when you're like, when you're pointing at something like this, it doesn't have the E, you know, or whatever key you have. There's no activation, right? Just cleans things up a little bit. I think it might do a couple other things too, but I'm not sure. Immersive compass. Okay, now you probably can't see it. It's not really gonna apply in here, but you see my compass only has directions, and that is what it's going to have regardless. It does not, magically show what is on the other side of that hill. Well, you know that there's like a cave there or whatever. You can't see any of that. You have to actually go in and arrive there and see that there is in fact a cave, and it's not going to show up on your compass. Immersive HUD, of course, that's just the same thing basically here. So I can hide all my elements, all my whatever. I'm like the compass and when I have the needs mod installed, those will show up on the side as well. But that allows me to hide that. Immersive weapons, so there's more a variety of weapons in the game. I need, that's my food, water, sleep need mod that I'm using. I used to use realistic needs and diseases. I actually have realistic needs and diseases 2.0, but that's been taken off of the Nexus and presumably is not going to be updated there. So that's a bit of a problem. It's too bad because 2.0 fixed a lot of bugs and a lot of incompatibilities. So I didn't really feel like going back to the old realistic needs and diseases because it hasn't been updated in like over 2 years. So anyway, I'm trying out I Need. I haven't used it recently, so we'll just see how that works out. I'm using main menu. It's just called main menu, basically, version 1. That just changes. I don't know if I can even. No, it doesn't even show up here. When you're at the main menu, it basically makes the main menu 60 frames per second, which is quite nice. And it also lists your saves by character. That's all that does. We've got no poison dialogues, which, if I end up using poisons, is like really, really helpful. And more HUD, so that when I don't think I can demonstrate it here, but when I point at something, it'll show me like if I'll become over encumbered. It'll also, like if I hover over a plant or whatever, it'll show me if I know what the ingredient or what the alchemical effects are. It'll list those. Just a little bit more information. And no GPS in Skyrim. Now this goes along with the whole map thing and, being lost and surviving. So basically the map no longer centers on your location, and it eliminates the map marker for you. So you have to basically know where you are by looking at your map and figuring out, looking at landmarks and stuff like that. You're not going to magically know where you are. Okay, now I actually got to go and scroll down. Hang on just a second. Whoops. Okay, that was unfortunate, but Skyrim crashed. So I had to restart it. That's not a good sign. Okay, next mod is Nordic Cooking. Now, this allows you basically to make some other food and water, like food and drink recipes. Just, I think it also eliminates the need for salt in most recipes as well, because that is a really big pain in the ass to have to salt everything when you're trying to survive, trying to find salt in the first place. So hopefully most recipes won't have salt required. It also, I like the Nordic Cooking because I did use, I tried out like Babette's Feast and Expanded Cooking and Herbal Tea. The Herbal Tea I found to be overpowered, basically. The teas were like really easy to make and gave massive boosts to regeneration and health and stuff. I'm like, okay, I can't. That's just overpowered. And Babette's Feast and stuff like that, I like to be I like the, that there's a lot of fantasy in Skyrim, and I don't like, to make hamburgers and French fries and stuff. I think that's kind of weird. So Nordic Cooking is sort of more lore friendly. It's sort of, you're cooking up horker and elk and venison and, the stuff that you're finding around Skyrim as you're hunting. Now, the next big one is Ordinator. This is my perk mod. So we're just going to look at it briefly. As you can see, there is a lot more perks. A lot more perks. And I think there's like 400 or more compared to Skyrim's 250, 270, somewhere around there. So we're probably not going to be able to go as far unless we get really high in level. And they do radically different things, too. So that is going to be interesting. I have used it a little bit in another playthrough that I went up to maybe level 15 or something, and I found it pretty interesting. So we'll try that out. That is basically replacing all the perks and stuff that would have been in Requiem had I been able to use that. Another sort of immersion mod is Point the Way, which just adds more signposts and adds more signs to the posts. So it's like, it's not just the main cities. There's actually some of the small towns and stuff are listed as well. It's a little bit easier to navigate, especially considering all the other mods like no GPS and stuff. Proper torch wield. Basically, I can't actually demonstrate it at the moment, but it holds the torch out further to the left, so it's not right in your face. And what else have we got? Race menu. That basically just allows you to make a lot more changes to your character when you're crafting them. That's how I got this handsome devil here. Okay, well, he's not that great looking, but he's had a hard life. Realistic humanoid movement speed. I talked about this earlier. Basically makes walking faster and running a little bit, running a little bit slower, and sprinting is I can't remember if sprinting is a little bit faster or a little bit slower. I'm not totally sure about that. But that ties in with the fighting fatigue, so when you're walking and you're getting your stamina back, you're walking faster, basically, so you're not moving like you're going in molasses. Okay, then we got Realistic Water 2. That's the current water mod that I'm using. It looks pretty good, so whatever. Road signs redone. That just makes road signs a little bit easier to read, basically higher definition. Sabercat gear mod. I think I might have mentioned that before. I'm not sure. Anyway, Sabercat allows you to, turn. If you kill a Sabercat, you get a couple of teeth and eyes and stuff. You can make like this really cool hat that makes you look like a total badass. SG female textures renewal. This is basically the same thing as the DCE realistic male faces, just makes female faces look a little bit better. Scowl Clothes HD and Scowl Heavy Armor. Now these mods, the Heavy Armor mod basically allows you to craft and upgrade either a Heavy Armor version of the Scowl Armor or the Light Armor version. I think in the default game, like the vanilla game, you cannot craft. You definitely can't craft Scowl Armor, and you might not be able to upgrade it either. So the light armor. And I really like the light armor, so I actually installed the HD revival, which is a retexture, and I like that. I think it's a good armor for cold areas. It looks pretty looks like something you'd probably wear in northern Skyrim or Solstheim. Realism crafting kits. Now, this basically allows you to carry around pretty much any of the crafting things: an alchemy station, an enchanting station, a tanning rack, a workbench, a forge, smelter, everything, right? All those things you can carry around. They weigh 5 pounds or something like that, or 5 units, whatever units are in Skyrim. I'm planning on using it as basically not breaking it, because you can't go smelting down metal at a campfire. You need a hotter fire than that, right? So I'm not going to smelt things. I'm also not going to craft new items unless there may be leather. You can make leather armor, right? But I'm not going to be making any metal items. I will be using it for fletching arrows and for sharpening weapons and maybe improving armor and stuff like that, but not creating new armor or weapons. Though I'll have to go to a town and do that at a blacksmith's forge and so forth. Sky Tweak, which I'll get into in just a minute, and Sky UI, which is apparently not really. Well, there you go. So all this stuff, completely changing the user interface. Telescope allows me to make a telescope so I can zoom, see off in the distance. Then I've got the unofficial Skyrim Legendary Edition patch. That's the latest one. It includes all the DLCs and so forth. And I've got Violins, a kill move mod. I use it only to I usually use it to disable kill moves on the player, because it's just a kill move can activate when you still have 20 or 25% of your health, which sucks. I'd rather die, especially when you're playing such a hard survival type thing. I'd rather die because I actually got all the way down to 0 in health. Sometimes I also use it to disable ranged attacks, because they're sometimes bugged. But apparently I was looking through Sky Tweak. I think I might be able to do what that mod does and get rid of the mod, which would be kind of nice. And finally, wet and cold, so that water drips off of you and NPCs put on hoods when it's raining. Alright, now, having said all of that, let's get into the actual configuration of things. Campfire. I don't think that I made any changes to this at all. Pretty sure. This is just the default. Even the hotkeys and stuff, I tend to prefer, instead of trying to remember which hotkeys I assign to what, I'm just going to use the inventory. Convenient horses. I did a couple of things. Basically, I increased my horse's stamina and its speed, and made it that it follows me. That's pretty much all I did there. Customizable camera, I just set to center, which is the one I'm using right now. Enhanced blood, I didn't do anything to that. Equipping overhaul, we've got geared up and realistic unequip and lit torches. So if I'm carrying a torch and I switch to my, directly to my bow or my sword or whatever, if I have a two-handed sword or a shield, I'll drop the torch and it'll stay lit on the ground, which will be quite helpful if I'm fighting in a dungeon. Fighting fatigue, as I have discussed a few times, so basically it makes one-handed, two-handed regular attacks, not power attacks, also use fatigue. Bow draw fatigue, running fatigue, swimming fatigue, Sneaking fatigue. You can't stay crouched forever. As you get tired, it decreases your damage. So if you're below 20% of your stamina, your bashes and attacks actually do less damage. So you don't want to be running around on flat stamina all the time. And yeah, basically, all that. And these are the current settings. I might tweak these, I'm not sure. Frostfall, which is currently not enabled, I believe. Yes, it's disabled. Basically, we're going to be playing hardcore, except that I do always leave fast travel active, just in case I have to use it to fix a bug. But I'm not going to be using fast travel in this playthrough. Harvest Overhaul, we already discussed, just increases the chance that you collect more than one flower, basically, from flowers. Hunterborn, let's see, So I've left help values default. I've reduced the mineral yield to low, and the material yield to low and the meat yield to conservative. I might actually lower that even more because you still get a lot of meat from stuff, and I can't use it all. So I can't carry it all, and I can't use it all. I can't eat it all. So yeah, I eliminated the manual loot option too, so that I have to actually dress and skin and whatever the animal. I can't just click on it and take its hide. And the rest of these things, I think, require a hunting knife. Yes, so to be able to skin and harvest and butcher, you have to have a hunting knife for that. And I think that's pretty much it. I didn't set any hotkeys. I haven't actually done anything yet, so dressing takes almost 2 hours. Skinning and harvesting takes over 2 hours right now, but this improves as you gain experience. And Monster Hunter, I can do this with, I can, course, spiders, trolls, werewolves, dragons. All these things can be harvested for their ingredients. Eye Activate, I think we just talked about that. All that does is basically make it that you can see it changes the locked thing and the empty thing, and yeah, shows you that stuff is owned in red. Immersive HUD, I just have I've got the all Sky UI widgets so that the eye needs food and water and sleep icons disappear when I press X. I also have, like I said, I have it disabled right now. I can't even show you what I have the settings at. Anyway, I have it for food spoilage and dangerous diseases and all that stuff, all that good stuff, so it's going to be hard to survive. More HUD, already talked about that. Sky UI, we already talked about that. The only thing that if you're... Oh, hang on. Let me re-enter that. The only thing that you might want to do if you're using this mod is go to Advanced and click Turn Off Map Menu, because that conflicts with the paper world map. Violins, we already talked about that, and Wet and Cold. Now, Sky Tweak, finally! We're going to look at the tweaks that I've enabled on this. So I've enabled critical damage scaling, so as I gain level, critical hits will do more damage. Same thing with bleeding. I don't think I changed... Oh yeah, I also made traps more dangerous. 500% more damage. I don't think I changed anything else there. Magic. I changed the dual cast cost to 2.2 from 2.8. I removed the cost scaling. So now as you gain level, spells do not become less expensive. Instead, I increased their magnitude and duration, so they get more powerful and last longer instead of costing less as you gain levels. Same thing basically. For NPCs, I also eliminated it and made it that their spells cost the same as me. And normally they get like a huge advantage. Like their cost is 0.5 and their scaling is like twice as fast as you. So it costs them a lot less. And the other things are just 200% more magnitude and duration. That's it. For combat, we have... did I change... What did I change? Oh, yes. So I'm going to be playing on Expert. So I've set the damage taken is equal to Master. So I take as much damage. Enemies do as much damage to me as they do on Master, but I do as much damage as well instead of a reduced amount. So basically, fights are going to be shorter and more intense. We're going to both be doing more damage to each other. I might increase this too if it, like, I might change this if it, you know, like I'm finding it too easy, too hard, whatever. Right now, it's basically twice as much damage on both sides as when you're playing on Adept. So compare that to regular Master, where you take twice as much damage, but you deal half as much damage. So basically, it just turns your enemies into sponges, into damage sponges, which is annoying. And I'm not sure if I changed anything else here. I don't think so. Not entirely sure. For stealth, I also don't think I changed anything. Oh yeah, I just changed that AI will, instead of giving up searching for you after 15 seconds, they will keep searching you for you for 5 minutes. And same thing as whether they were attacked or not, they'll keep searching for you. So basically, you get, you know, you either get one sneak shot, or you have to be really, really good at sneaking. So that's what that does. I don't think I changed anything else there. Crafting, I believe, is this is just the defaults. Some of these settings are changed by mods, so I didn't mess around with those. No, I don't think I changed anything there. Vendors, I didn't change anything with that either. Attributes, don't think I changed anything with that. Basically, I have the same base health and stamina and magicka, and it increases at the same rate, and regenerates at the same, you know, the way it normally regenerates, basically. Now here, I reduced my carry weight, my base carry weight, to 100, and I eliminated the effect that stamina. So when I put points into stamina, I don't get more carry weight. I stay at the base amount. So basically, the only way I can carry more stuff is by, you know, getting a backpack or a pouch or something like that. So I'm gonna have to be a lot more. Picky about what I carry around, and I'll have to have some kind of base of operations where I can store stuff too, which is, you know, probably a good idea. You're not carrying around 15 sets of armor and whatever. I'm not sure of 100. I know like that's 1/3. Normally you start at 300. I don't know if 100 is a good amount. If it's too much, too little, we'll see. I might have to adjust that. Miscellaneous, I changed the time scale to 15 from 20, so time moves a little bit slower. Day and night cycle will be a little bit longer. Yeah, this is the kill cam stuff. So you can just completely disable kill moves from here. I don't know. I also reduced arrow recovery chance to only 10% from 33%, because you end up with a lot of arrows. I mean, it seems realistic that some of the arrows that you shoot would not be damaged beyond use. So it seems realistic that you should be able to recover some arrows, but, you know, not a lot. I think that's it for this. Let's just change. Yeah, there's so many things you can change. It's crazy. I disabled the AI dodge chance so they don't, do that magical sidestep thing, which is so annoying. I actually was using a mod specifically for that, but since this allows you to do it, I don't need to have that mod. These adjustments to level scaling are probably as an effect. As you can see, they're all different from vanilla. This is probably as a result of that de-leveling mod that I have installed. I think that's it. Experience. As you can see here, no carry weight per increases. Does not increase per level. I think I changed all. I left all these experience rates the same as they normally are. Physics, I didn't change anything on that. Any, I just changed the field of view a little bit. Don't want it to look like I'm looking through, fish eyes or whatever. And I don't think I changed anything else. Enable havoc on hit. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about this. I haven't seen what this does. So apparently, NPC body parts will recoil with physics. So I haven't actually seen what that does. Sounds kind of interesting. Scripts. I don't believe I activated anything. I want to try and keep this as light as possible. And that's it. Okay, well, sorry for the long discussion on mods. I hope you didn't mind that and enjoyed the discussion. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of go over everything. In the next video, I will give you some background on Grizzle and his motivations and his plans, and probably maybe talk about some of the skills that I kind of think I'll probably be focusing on. I'm not using a specific build in this playthrough, but he's probably going to lean towards certain things. So, alright, we will see you in the next video. Take care.